Let's get drawing! Hello my friends, it's Nina, and for this video we are drawing. So if you didn't know, I like to draw a little bit. I have a webtoon that I've been working on for the last 2 years. Oh shoot. Oh my god. It's actually almost a 2-year anniversary since I released the webtoon. And we have still not gotten that far in the story. But I thought for this video we would just chill, relax, work on my webtoon together, and also talk about whatever we want. So my webtoon is called To Love and Be Loved. I'm currently working on episode 28, which means there are 27 episodes up as we speak. Right now we are at a storyboard stage. Close your eyes if you don't like spoilers. But today I wanted to work on one panel. This panel is of my character Johan. We've got a nice close-up of him. But at the same time, while I'm drawing, I wanted to talk about topics that may be interesting to you, interesting to me. So let's get into it. So this episode marks some change in my characters' lives. A lot of my characters are meeting for the first time, which might be out of their comfort zone. So conveniently for this video, I also wanted to talk about the importance of getting out of your comfort zone and how it's changed my life. For the last year, I feel like I've really gotten out of my comfort zone more. I've been saying yes to more opportunities, going to things that I otherwise wouldn't have pictured myself to go to. And I've just been doing things that honestly are kind of scary at first. I feel like most of my adult life, I've had to learn how to get out of my comfort zone, get out of my shell, and take on opportunities that might be scary to me in order for my life to progress. It's kind of just like a natural part of my life. Like I constantly have to challenge myself. I constantly have to try new things in order to get to the next page, next chapter. Or maybe that's normal for people. But at the same time, while I've gone through many challenges and put myself out there, I can't deny the fact that there comes a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear with it. I feel like honestly, maybe I just function better with chaos in my life. But I feel like I've been able to deal with everything because I talk it out and really recognize and work through those anxieties, those fears with my therapist. And it's been really helpful talking to a therapist because my therapist offers tools to approach my life in different ways. I'm literally challenging myself, reframing the way that I think, kind of just approaching life through a different lens now. I've always been the type to kind of talk myself out of things, always look for what can go wrong in a situation, and just always try to protect myself from dangerous situations or things that are unknown to me. But then I was also like, what exactly am I protecting myself from? New opportunities, things that could change my life, the next chapter. So with the help of my therapist, I've been able to change the way that I think, reframe things, and just navigate life a little bit differently. Learning to show up for myself is a pretty big part of my life, and I'm sure it's a pretty big part of your life as well. And also conveniently, my webtoon characters are also going through similar things right now. So I thought this would be the perfect topic to cover in this video. But before we get into the rest of this video, I did want to talk about our sponsor, BetterHelp, who is also the start of my therapy journey. BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy more affordable and more accessible. And this is very important because sometimes finding a therapist can be hard, especially when you're limited to the options in your area. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easier because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to a professional therapist in as little as a few days. I got matched to my therapist in under 24 hours, and I have worked with her over the last year. It's easy to sign up and get matched to a therapist, and I even have a special link that you can use to get started. You can use my link betterhelp.com/Nina. That is betterhelp.com/Nina. Clicking my link will help support this channel, but it will also give you 10% off of your first month of BetterHelp so that you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. And because finding a therapist is a little bit like dating, if you don't fit with the therapist that you were matched with, which is a common thing in therapy, you can easily switch to a new therapist at no additional cost without stressing about insurance, who's in your network, anything like that. So if you find yourself struggling as well, you can consider online therapy with BetterHelp. You can click the link in my description or visit betterhelp.com/Nina. And thank you again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. But without further ado, let's get into it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I haven't drawn in a little bit, especially something that takes a little more effort, but I will try my best. But as you can see, we have Johan here. He is one of my webtoon characters of To Love and Be Loved. I created a little sketch and I kind of lowered the opacity. Johan has a bit of an RBF. He can't help it. That's just how he's built. But Johan as well is someone that is realizing that he also needs to kind of get out of his comfort zone a little bit in order to make his friends happy, make himself happy, and grow as a person. So I thought this would be the perfect panel to get started on. You can see his kind of scary glare here. Johan is actually one of my favorite characters that I've come up with in this series. Just gonna make a folder. I'm probably going to make a cleaner sketch, but even with releasing my webtoon, I feel like that was one of the biggest challenges that I went through myself. Releasing my webtoon was honestly one of the scariest things I've ever done. I feel like it was vulnerable for me because it was such a personal project. So right now I'm just making a rough sketch, or maybe I won't. Let's see. Oh, I actually did make these vector layers layers. Maybe I can change it into a different pen. So you can actually change the brush shape if you're working on a vector layer like this one. Right now it's the pencil. I'm going to see if I can change it to the pen. Oof, okay, that's a little rough. Maybe let's bring this back up. That's not the vibe. I'm gonna change this back. There we go. But as I was saying, if you watched my older videos, I would mention a lot, especially in my Q&As when I was in college, etc., that something that I really wanted to get into was storytelling, or some kind of career that would allow me to create a story. And that's also why I went into media studies as well. I always imagined that I would work somewhere in production, whether it was social media production, TV production, film, maybe even writing something. But I've always kind of envisioned I would create a story somehow. Maybe I could insert a clip where I'm talking about it. I personally love creating and telling stories, and I have a lot of ideas, and I also do have a visual artistic background, so I would like to incorporate that into my future, but who knows what will happen in the future. I am very excited for the future. I have lots of ideas and projects planned that I can finally get to work on now that I'm going to graduate, but also my future is not really certain, but that's okay. That's how my life has always been. I'm just figuring everything out one step at a time, and so my first step right now is definitely YouTube. So don't worry, I am going to be here for a long time, but also with my major, media studies, I'm just already naturally in this sort of career field, and so that's my answer to that question. I just always knew I liked storytelling, or I liked creating something. I was always an artistic person. I liked drawing, I liked writing stories, I liked making up scenarios and things like that. I liked making skits and just entertaining people in those kinds of ways. But storytelling was always going to be something that I wanted to do. I just never really could figure out how I could practically make it happen. I knew about webtoons since probably 2017, but it took me until 2019 to find out about Canvas and the fact that you can make a webtoon yourself. But I didn't know if I was able to do it myself either. I was also kind of nervous to do it too, because in the beginning of my channel, I made a lot of art-related videos. I would paint a lot, I would do sketchbook tours, things like that, but I never pursued anything further with art. I didn't even go to art school, even though I took art classes in high school and college. I remember in my final year of high school, my friends in my art class were also asking me, oh, did you apply for art school? For some reason I didn't even consider it. But then at the same time, I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do in high school. If you're familiar with my channel, I went through community college. I was really finally finding the time to ask myself what I wanted to do. In community college, I was able to take art classes again. I took a drawing class and I was able to tune into my creativity once again. And because of YouTube, I also was able to make videos related to art and just kind of live that life again, do what I wanted to do. I'm going to try to avoid the symmetry ruler just because it pressures me to make everything super even when human faces aren't really that symmetrical anyway. We're just going to wing it. Something I do like to do though is I like to duplicate the eye. I just don't want to make it super symmetrical. Like I'll make the eyebrows a little bit different, the jaw shape not too similar. But if I'm trying to save time, I will use the symmetry ruler. Just lately I've been trying to avoid it so that my faces can be a little more forgiving. Just adds for a more natural look. And then we're going to switch back and forth. Yeah, that's pretty good. And I'm sure a lot of us have these projects and ambitions, things we want to take on, but we kind of always talk ourselves out of because of fear, because of feeling like it's not going to be good enough, or you're just scared to do something you're not familiar with, that you feel like you can't really control. This is something that I kind of had to navigate a lot more recently, is like that feeling of comfort versus challenging yourself. I've been trying to ask myself, what is that fear? And is it actually helping me? Is it protecting me? Or is it making me avoid things that I want to do? Because at the same time, when I would prevent myself from taking on new things, I would also feel frustrated with myself when I would miss out on an opportunity, especially when I was younger. I felt a lot of kind of anger, honestly. I felt anger with myself. I was like, oh, why didn't I just do the thing? Or like, why couldn't I just be brave enough to just blah, blah, blah? Why do I still feel disappointed? Why do I still feel like 아까워? Am I protecting myself, or am I preventing myself from doing something that I actually want? Especially when I was younger, I did deal with social anxiety. And it's also something that I cover a lot in my webtoon as well. Because of my social anxiety, I missed out on so so many opportunities. I thought I was protecting myself, and at the time, honestly, I was. I was not strong enough to deal with social situations, but eventually as I grew older, I realized that I didn't want to hold myself back all the time from pain, from fear, the dangerous situation, because I didn't even know what I was afraid of. I didn't know, well, I did know what I was afraid of. I was afraid of being rejected. I was afraid of getting hurt, you know, embarrassing myself. But for a while, I didn't experience that, which was nice. I started to, you know, meet the right people, feel a little bit more confident in myself. So social situations began to not seem so scary to me. And slowly I would start to want to show up for myself, tell myself, I think I could do this. I would like to do this. I would like to make new friends. I would like to do these fun things that other people enjoy. And from then on, that's when I started to really have confidence in myself and do things out of my comfort zone. Fortunately, because I was in a better place, I was feeling safer and more secure. And as I got older, I was dealing with more situations. Besides just my fear of social situations, I was dealing with what I wanted to do with my life, projects that I wanted to take on. I was dealing with social media and growing as a person. Naturally, being a person on the internet, that can be scary sometimes, but all I can really do is things out of my comfort zone. If I want to keep making YouTube videos, gotta keep challenging myself, gotta keep coming up with new ideas. And so I naturally found myself having to be in situations that I didn't really find comfortable at first, but at the end of the day, it helped me grow a lot as a person. But the way that I was able to deal with my anxieties and fears over things that were out of my comfort zone, if there was that urge inside of me where I wanted to do the thing, but I found myself talking myself out of it, but then there was still part of me that was like, but what if I did do the thing? I'm going to listen to that voice a little bit more. If I am completely just like, oh, that is not a good idea, I don't need to do that. And there are many situations where I am like this, such as skydiving. I don't see myself having to skydive. There's nothing I'll gain from it for now. But if there's something that I have a little desire to do, I'm going to really hold on to that, grab onto that, and ask myself, okay, so why am I talking myself out of it when part of me wants to do the thing? And that was me with this webtoon. I freaking wanted to make my webtoon so bad. I listened to the part of me that was like, I spend so much of my energy on this webtoon. I don't care if I'm scared, I'm gonna make it happen somehow because I think so much about it. Something else I also realized lately is that we might stick to things we're comfortable with, mistaking that as safe, but that's only because we know how to control things. Even if it doesn't lead to good outcomes, we at least can expect that familiar feeling of, you know, nothing happening. Sometimes when we want to do something ambitious, we still will talk ourselves out of it because we don't know what's going to happen. We would hope that the result is success, a good outcome, but we focus more on everything else that can go wrong because we might be more familiar to prepare for when things go wrong. And then we end up mistaking that for protecting ourselves, for staying in our comfort zone, thinking that it's safe. But it's not safe. We end up kind of having a little resentment towards ourselves. I started to realize for myself that I was prioritizing the safety of dealing with whatever was familiar over the mystery and scary thing that the unknown is. But at the end of the day, if you try something new, you learn from it, and then you're given more information, more ways to deal with situations, you naturally grow as a person. Me being me, I'm someone that makes decisions based off of what I know. I realized that most of what I knew was just familiar things because I was safe there, I was comfortable there. I wasn't necessarily happy there, but I at least knew how to deal with it. Even if I was doing something that was basically self-sabotage, I was used to that feeling. If I felt disappointed that I didn't try something new, I at least knew how to manage that disappointment. But it took me a long time to think, what if I actually tried something new and then learned how to deal with that? I finally became a little bit tired and was like, I want to experience other things and learn how to deal with that. Sometimes you just get a little bored, you know? At the same time, I like to learn. I like to challenge myself. I like to learn new information so that I can deal with situations in different ways. With Johan too, he's kind of learning that there might be some benefit to meeting new people, especially people that his friends care about. All my characters right now are going through these changes to better themselves. I feel like my characters are kind of like my coworkers. They're kind of expressing what I want to express through their fictional lives, their fictional stories, because I'm only one person. There's only so many things I can talk about with my personal life, but my characters can go through more things and show different perspectives. So I hope that you guys can also advocate for yourselves and do things that you want to do as well. And it's okay to also feel scared. I was terrified to put my webtoon out, but at the end of the day, I just spent so much time thinking about it that I was like, it's gonna be so sad if I don't do anything about it. I did worry a lot about, you know, the response and like, obviously, oh, what if I'm not the best artist? What if, you know, Now that I think about it, what was I even scared about? I can't even remember. All I can think is, what if I'm not good enough? Like, what? Then just get better. Just keep drawing, keep getting better. You can only get better if you keep doing the thing more and more, you know? If you don't do the thing, you don't have the opportunity to get better, so. If you feel like you're not good enough, if you feel like you're far behind, if you feel like you have so much to improve on, that's okay. That means do the thing. Like for me as well, if I truly listened to myself and really was like, oh, I have to wait till everything's perfect, until the story is perfect, until my art style is perfect, I honestly wouldn't have released my webtoon. My webtoon itself has gone through so many changes. The art style changed a lot. Honestly, a year from now, this is going to be old. I'll probably have another art style. But because I was able to be brave and work towards what I wanted and just let it out to the world or let it out to the people around me, it doesn't have to be at a grand scale. I've had a webtoon for the last 2 years. I've had many opportunities because of it. I've learned so much. I've grown a lot, and I can only keep growing and improving. But on a personal note, I've also been getting out of my comfort zone in my personal life as well. I've been seeing my friends more, going to things with them. I went to a festival, I went to a convention. I actually even went to a convention even before that. I went to Anime Expo, KCON, Head in Clouds. Normally, yes, I would agree to it, but it's also like compared to maybe Nina from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, definitely wouldn't have pictured myself at these events. Nice to see that I'm showing up for myself and being more brave and trying to allow myself to experience more things, because I deserve to. We all deserve to. We all deserve to have fun and do fun things, cool things. Another takeaway from me challenging myself and getting out of my shell, most times things turn out okay. I feel like I have always built up the pain and the worst case scenarios to be way worse than they actually were. Like the embarrassment of a social situation going wrong. Maybe I choke up and say something embarrassing when I'm talking to someone. Maybe if I do this project, maybe it doesn't do as well as I thought. Things like that. I would really just like start to ask myself, okay, then what's the real like worst case scenario? And then I'm like, wait, that's not that bad, honestly. Especially when it comes to things where it will probably better your life or it's stuff that you want to do. The negative things that can come out of it are not as bad as I made it out to be for myself. Like with my webtoon, what? The worst case scenario? People just don't read my webtoon. But thankfully people do, so thankfully obviously it went well, but at the same time, even if for some reason it didn't go well, at least I was working on something that I cared about, right? So I kind of just became less afraid of the pain. What I thought of as scary when I was younger is no longer the same threat that it used to be. Like for a social situation now, I'm not entirely afraid of them. Of course they make my heart race. Sometimes I will feel afraid to do the thing, but at the end of the day I get it done. I kind of know how to deal with whatever comes with it. At the same time, I only ever gain from the challenges that I take on. Back then, I had a lot to lose, you know? I would feel embarrassed. I would cry myself to sleep. It's hard being a kid, you know? Everything is much more amplified. Everything is scarier. But thankfully, time passed and the things that I thought were scary back then, they don't hit the same anymore. And I hope it can be that way for you as well. And it's not an overnight process. For me, it took me a long time to be brave and do things that I wanted to do. Luckily with YouTube, I can physically say for myself when I've taken the steps to do new things and challenge myself, and I see it all in video, you know, that I've gone through each time. I've gone through many things. You've gone through many things, and we can only ever keep going through things. So here is the final panel, which brings us to the end of this video. I hope this was a fun time and maybe that you learned something about me, about yourself, about the webtoon. Let me know in the comments what else you want me to talk about in a future video. I am open to all topics and we have plenty of panels to draw. But that is it for me. And again, if you want to check out BetterHelp for yourself, you can click the link in my description or visit betterhelp.com/Nina. That is betterhelp.com/Nina. And with my link, you can get 10% off of your first month of therapy at BetterHelp. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. We're going to bring it in for a hug. I haven't stood up in a while, so give me a sec. Have a good day, have a good night, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye, my friends.